All right, so I just met up with Josh, and he just moved the hogs into this new paddock here at the farm. And so we're going to do a quick virtual tour with him about our pork production here at the farm. So Josh, can you tell me a little bit about the breeds that you're raising?
Yeah, sure. So primarily it's Hampshire, Burke, and Duroc. They're a little bit of a mixture of all three. We focus on heritage genetics, and pigs that excel in foraging, rooting, just really thrive in the pasture and woods environments.
Yeah, I noticed the rooting here. They seem like pretty happy pigs in a natural environment. Do they root often? How does that work?
So pigs' natural instincts are to root and expose dirt and mud so they can roll, and what that does is they actually get the mud on their skin, and the mud will dry and it will pull off dead skin, bugs, just kind of naturally exfoliates their bodies, and that's why they are doing that. And also, for things to eat, you'll hear them crunching on walnuts, roots, just basically anything that they can find under the soil surface. We like to joke that God gave them a plow and four-wheel drive.
I see they're rooting back there. So I see that they've got tails. Is that normal?
Yes. So the tails, that's an interesting thing to point out. In the state of Ohio, there's roughly 6.5 million hogs being raised annually, and most of those are in confinement, and they actually do not have tails. And the reason is, in confinement, the pigs typically get bored and aggravated, and they will actually eat the tails off of each other. So out here in pasture, you can see how happy they are, and their tails are actually fun and entertaining to watch.
Yeah, so the producers then cut the tails off of the hogs before they go into confinement.
Correct.
As young piglets, yep. They cut them off, right?
Yep, as a way to reduce infection and disease.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about antibiotic use.
So here at Ayers Valley Farm, we pride ourselves on not needing any antibiotics for any of our enterprises. So that's beef, pork, or chicken. But the way we raise these hogs out here where they're meant to be, the way they were designed to grow, you do not need to use any antibiotics. Just a kind of a neat stat. So there was roughly 6.5 million pounds of medically important antibiotics used in 2016 in pork production. So what's going on in the confinement operations, they're actually injecting their water and including antibiotics in their feed constantly, just to reduce any inflammation, disease, infections, anything that they can to make sure that they're being raised as healthy as possible in confinement. So that's why we don't need any of that. They're not in confinement. You can see here they're doing everything that they love to do as they were designed to do it, and it enables us to produce a product that does not need any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I was actually researching. The Scientific American magazine did a study. It's been a couple of years ago, but over 2 million people have been diagnosed with antibiotic-resistant infections every single year, and of those people, 23,000 people die just because of antibiotic-resistant infections. So really focusing on providing a product that doesn't have that antibiotic is something that we take very seriously here at Ayers Valley Farm. So can you tell us a little bit about what they eat?
Sure. So they eat aside from what you see them doing here, the rooting and everything else, they are supplemented with a non-GMO soy and corn-free feed ration. And for those of you that don't know what non-GMO means, it is genetically modified organism. So when I say non-GMO, that means these plants and grains that we are using to feed these pigs have never been modified. And the reason folks modify these grains and these plants that produce these grains is to make sure they are resistant to glyphosate.
Glyphosate?
Glyphosate, sorry. Which is a herbicide. So by doing this, we are making sure that we are not having any grains that are infected with glyphosate consumed by these pigs.
So when you say corn and soy free, what is their feed mostly made up of?
Primarily wheat, barley, and then peas.
Okay.
And then of course we have the various NutriBalancers and other things that complete the mineral mix that they need to be absolutely healthy and thriving.
Yes.
Constantly.
So it seems like all of the pigs here are healthy, they're happy, they're friendly. They're definitely thriving in this environment here. Looks like they get plenty of sunshine, clean water, fresh feed. They're living their best life. So is there anything else that you have to add?
No, not at this point in time.
Okay, if you guys have any questions, drop them below in the comments section. We will be happy to answer them. Either Josh or I, Taylor, will get back to you as quickly as we can. So Josh, thanks for the tour of how you raise great, clean, ethically raised pork here that complements the ecosystem. I noticed that them being here in the Silva Pasture paddock, I believe, I don't want to speak, but isn't this going to be converted into pasture for the cattle as well at a future date?
Yeah, eventually. So we'll use them to basically prepare and clear out the understory here as we cycle them through this for a few years. Then eventually this will be nothing but cattle pasture, and the permanent pig pastures will be elsewhere on the farm.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for working so hard to produce a great tasting pork product.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching the video.